The Billy machine. Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Screen Junkies Universe. We hope that you enjoyed your goblin nap yesterday and that you are nice and well rested and back from the nether realms and ready to talk about some great fan questions that we have for you today, starting with the worst movies made from the greatest directors. So this comes from Son of the Dale. Well, hello, sir. What's your dad's name? And he asks, what's the worst movie your favorite director?
Dale.
I get, well, yeah.
What's his name is the question.
What's his name is the question. God, I was really bad at math, you guys. Doesn't it feel like that's
His
sort
father before
of...
him was also the Dale. His dad's real name is Son of the Son of the Dale.
Son of the Son of the Dale, and
Yeah.
it just keeps going back. Thank you for translating me and making what I said make sense, which it didn't. Son of the Dale, also known as Arthur, asks, what's the worst movie your favorite director made? A couple of popular examples on online research done by Billy Business reveal our people think 1941 by Steven Spielberg, Jack by Francis Ford Coppola. This one is going to be one of mine, so I'll just hold it.
That he did that.
The Bonfire of the Vanities by Brian De Palma. There's merit in that movie. Okay, we can argue that later. Alexander by Oliver Stone, She Hate Me by Spike Lee, Mimic by Guillermo del Toro, and Boxcar Bertha by Martin Scorsese.
I'm blessed enough to have seen none of these except like Alexander on cable. You know, I saw Alien Covenant, obviously.
You haven't seen She Hate Me?
I have not seen She Hate Me.
Yeah, see She Hate Me.
Well, we're going to talk about some of our favorites being least favorites. Starting Joe, what's one that you think is a great director who just missed the mark?
Somebody I was thinking about the other day because we were doing our Halloween movie catch-up because we didn't watch a bunch of them because Daredevil had the nerve to be good. So we watched Daredevil instead of Halloween movies. And we were watching Jennifer's Body, which is one of our favorite Halloween movies. And
Say it again. Say it loud. Say it proud.
Jennifer's
Body
very
is
underrated
awesome.
Halloween movie.
Thank you.
But Kara Kusama did Jennifer's Body, which is very good. She did some really great episodes of Men in High Castle. Destroyer looks really amazing. Is already getting a lot of awards buzz. And she did Aeon Flux.
Whoops.
You know what? Do you want to hear something crazy? This is the second time Aeon Flux came up today, and I'm not lying.
That's a good thing.
So I was on a call this morning with our UK team. Hey, Kim. And we were talking about Karin Kusama and that she was maybe going to interview her for Destroyer. And I said that there was a show I did with Alicia Malone and Mary Jetikin called Girls on Film, and we would interview female filmmakers and things like that. And Karin Kusama spoke very openly about that. And she said, you know what? It was a studio-driven film. She had made Girl Fight. That was a lot for her to take on in terms of a much bigger budget, many more cooks in the kitchen. And she said by the time it was getting to completion, it was no longer my film. It was 100% movie by committee, and that's what appeared on screen. It was pretty interesting. I mean, we all assume that, but most of them won't say that, you know.
Yeah.
But I think you'll be pleased with Destroyer.
I'm very excited.
God,
But that's a great one.
The source material is so cool.
Aeon Flux?
Oh my
Obviously-
God, on Liquid Television?
Yeah.
Right.
When do we get the Head movie?
Oh, I watched it. That cartoon was amazing.
The Head, wow.
Yeah.
Did you like Aeon Flux? The show, the TV show.
MTV at the time was verboten in my household, so I never got into Aeon Flux or Aeon Flux. I think they said Aeon Flux.
Was it Aeon or Aeon?
I think they said Aeon, but it
Yeah,
might be Aeon.
it's-
I don't know. Anyway,
I don't even know what the Son of the Dale's name is.
It was
his
not
dad.
allowed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Was not allowed to watch at that time. So
Oh, well, you didn't sneak? Did you follow the rules?
yeah.
Oh,
It's
that
not like
was-
he's going to subscribe to MTV and
Well,
on
did
his
you
own.
have it? You just couldn't watch it?
Yeah.
Or did you not
Oh.
have it?
No, we had it.
And you actually just followed the rules?
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa,
See, there was like,
that's
that's
fascinating.
I snuck The Simpsons.
yeah.
I snuck The Simpsons.
I was raised by Beavis and Butthead.
That was specifically why MTV was not allowed when I was that age, was because of Beavis and Butthead, because the people were lighting themselves on fire or whatever the reason was at the time.
Then they moved it to 10:30 and I couldn't watch it anymore.
Yeah.
Did you follow the rules? Like, if your parents told you not to watch something, did you actually listen to that?
Well, yeah, but I don't think that the rules were particularly strict around like media. I think that they were like, oh, this is funny. I don't think that, and obviously like I wasn't acting out, I wasn't setting things on fire, or if I was, they didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So
That's the key.
yeah,
That's
that's
the
the key.
key.
So I grew up on Simpsons, Ren and Stimpy, Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely didn't follow the rules. I also did get taken in by security for arson once, but let me be clear. Let me be very clear. I did not start that fire. I was putting it out.
All right, Billy
A friend
Joel.
of mine started it.
It's already burning. Roth just kept it alive.
Spencer, what's your pick?
I really enjoy and anticipate the films of one David Fincher, and you have to go pretty far back to find a dud, but man, Alien 3, that's a dud. Another film that he kind of disavows. The director is like,
Studio messed it up.
Yeah, studio messed it up. I wasn't prepared for the ordeal. But for someone who's like so meticulous and thoughtful and has such beautiful and haunting imagery in all of his films, that one is just like, nope, nothing.
Yeah.
I feel nothing.
It's interesting that you brought that up because mine is also an Alien film. And I don't think that this one is necessarily the worst. Both. I'm going to talk about two Alien films really quickly. One is...
You have to, as long as you tie it back to more crimes that you definitely committed as a kid. That's the game of this episode.
I swear to God, I was putting it out.
Do you know that meme photo of like that little girl like looking around back mischievously as the house burns?
Yeah.
Was that you?
I swear to God, it wasn't a big fire, first of all. It was really small.
Because it was a small house.
And I swear to God, I really didn't start it. I really was putting it out. I got caught stumping it out. Okay, let's just move on. Alien Resurrection was maybe not the worst of the Alien films, so I'm going to talk about what I believe was the worst. But it wasn't great, and it was done by a really great director who was... I always caveat that if you're doing English language and that's not your original language, sometimes there can be lost in translation. So this was Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who you probably know from Amélie and Delicatessen and City of Lost Children, which is a fantastic film. And he directed Alien Resurrection, and it did not okay. And it, for me, was not his best. Even if it's not the worst Alien film, it's certainly not his best film. His best films are entirely found in French, and you should enjoy them as such.
Definitely.
The second one, and this one actually makes me mad. And I don't get mad a lot. Like I wasn't able to articulate about this movie. I wasn't burning it down, and I certainly wasn't angry at that time. It was Alien Covenant by Ridley Scott, who, for me, Prometheus has a lot of problems, but I thought, Billy and I were talking about this morning, I gave it a pass because I was like, there were some interesting ideas in that.
And it's pretty.
And it was really pretty. It was gorgeous, especially in 3D in the theater. So Alien Covenant was the opportunity for him to remove what didn't work about Prometheus and lean into what was interesting about it. And he did the exact opposite. He doubled down on people behaving illogically, irrationally. He set up an entire lore only to eradicate it in the first 2 minutes of the film and make it completely meaningless. So why did Prometheus even exist? And why have we been talking about this lore for 2 years? I'm not a person, because I love Aliens so much and I love Blade Runner so much. So like my esteem for the early work of Ridley Scott is so high that I was truly upset to the like it seemed like he was mad at Alien, like he would like it was.
Well, it seemed like he begrudgingly had to include the alien stuff in that movie. Like
that's true.
It's like, all right, fine, the xenomorph.
The only way people are going to see my mythology movie is to put aliens in.
But then but then he didn't even explore the mythology. He just blew the mythology up and he leaned into David and his hair, and like it just is so mind-boggling to me that. And I'm not saying Alien Covenant, by the way, you might like it. A lot of people enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's even the worst movie ever made. Yeah, and I get that. I really do.
By that much.
I get it. I really get that. But for me, the reason, and I don't typically get this way, the reason that I'm so upset is because
you got fired up.
I don't think you can ruin a movie with another movie set in that world, but I think he tried.
He tried.
He tried really hard to ruin what was great about Alien.
In defense of that movie, I think Fassbender is one of the all-time great performance bad movies situations of like, he's just so unnerving and just like interesting to watch in that film, even though you kind of lose the thread of what he's doing and why.
But exactly, David is a really interesting character, but then that makes me mad too, because you completely abuse him and you completely abuse what's interesting about him, because his motivations make no sense. They're driven by what you want to happen in the next scene. How many more stick your face in the goo moments can we possibly have where it's like, look in this thing, but it seems really dangerous and we're in this very dangerous place and a bunch of people have died. I would suggest you look in this thing.
They also set up...
Look in the thing!
Yeah, don't look in the goo. And then they set up something so interesting at the beginning where it was all married couples. Yeah. And they do nothing with that.
Exactly.
Like, they might as well have just been strangers or friends or something.
Yeah, and there's pieces that are clearly missing, in terms of like, there's large chunks, I think. And some of the moments harken back to kind of the grittiness of Alien, and then but then it doesn't have the same feel. Like Alien is so simple, it's so specific. It is this creature that wants to survive, and so do you. And it survives by killing you and impregnating you and propagating its species, and you don't want it to do that to you. That's it. It's a contained environment. Like, it's a stalker movie, it is a brilliant horror movie, it is a brilliant sci-fi movie. It bleeds acid because that's a defense mechanism for it. Like
It's so weird because I felt like we're on the complete opposite sides.
This is my Jurassic
movie.
World, Dan.
Well, not Jurassic World, but I feel like exactly like we are mirror images of each other with Fantastic Beasts in this movie. Where like you just barely liked Fantastic Beasts because there was enough of the magic and stuff, and it was you liked going back to that world, and I was just like, this is completely crazy. This doesn't make any sense. The mythology is completely screwed up. They're going back and retroactively, and we think the opposite thing about this movie. Like for me, there was just enough classic Ridley Scott and like the set pieces and his style and the Michael Fassbender doing crazy things that I was able to say like there was just enough nostalgia and like not nostalgia but like of that style, that return to form that made me like barely recommend it. And then you're on the other side just like the story doesn't make sense, the mythology and none of it's completely retcon. It's just like it's just weird. Like it's this is how movies work on people sometimes.
But I agree with you, and that's the thing is where I know people are going to yell at me about this because they've yelled at me about Alien Covenant before because they understand why a lot of people enjoyed the movie. I really do. Like I get coming out with that experience and I get enjoying it, but I think I esteem Alien so highly, and I esteem Ridley Scott's one of my favorite movies ever, and Ridley Scott in his early work so highly.
Overrated. How dare you?
Well, I'm sure people think that, but I think this is such a bastardization of the clarity of vision in that film, and that fine if you're gonna. I actually like complex mythologies, but if you're gonna do it, then do it. Don't do it and then undercut it every scene.
I do remember that you have to watch the deleted scenes to understand how or why he's behaving in certain ways.
Yeah. David? Yeah, but the thing is also he sets up the whole idea of the engineers coming to Earth. And
I've forgotten all the details.
This whole Jesus figure
right now.
and why the engineers are behaving the way they do and why they created this weapon to take out humanity and all this other stuff. And then in the very beginning of Alien Covenant, or somewhere in the first act of Alien Covenant, you see this scene in which David annihilates the engineers and they're not important and who cares?
Right.
You literally blew up the thread of mythology that you created in Prometheus that would have been interesting to play out in this film, and then you made David behave completely erratically and just focus on his hair. Can we talk about how weird the hair thing was? I get why you guys liked it though, and I know you're gonna get mad at me, but
there aren't too many Covenant stands out there.
I don't think even as someone who liked the movie, I'm not gonna sit here and put up a fight over it.
Yeah, I mean it's just I don't feel this kind of anger about many things, but I do about this, and it really is my Jurassic World, where I'm like I cannot let go and just enjoy it.
We can go 5 rounds.
You've left this one a smoldering rubble.
Yes, I have. I've blown it up, but it's probably a better film than the ones that would make other people angry.
It's better than Alien 3. It's better than Alien Resurrection.
Agreed.
But again,
I think it was better than Prometheus.
Jurassic World, and
I
we
was
won't
not a fan of
relitigate
Prometheus.
this. Jurassic World's better than Jurassic Park 3, and maybe Jurassic Park 2. We'll see.
We'll talk about it.
What's yours, Dan?
Mine, two that just for me it was less so much that these are horrible movies as these were two directors that were in the prime of their careers that really just made what I thought were misfires. One of them is Ocean's 12. Steven Soderbergh, I think, had nailed that first Ocean's movie so well and was had transitioning into the mainstream. And I feel like Ocean's 12 was just a real step back. Nobody really seemed to know what that movie was, and the whole two Julia Roberts thing really didn't make sense. And I just think it was an unsuccessful attempt for him to blend his like sort of weird indie sensibility with a mainstream sequel with a lot of expectation. And I think they got it better in 13, which is not a great movie, but I think it's a good Ocean's movie. So Ocean's 12 was one that I've always looked at. It was just
not to apologize for Ocean's 12, but that also that one's a little bit different too because there was originally a script called Honor Amongst Thieves, and then when they're like, we need an Ocean sequel, they literally just rewrote all the names to
that
be
never
Oceans.
Works.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
That never works.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
I think that there was just a lot of
Die Hard with a Vengeance. Right?
Yeah,
Wasn't
same.
that? No, that worked.
Simon Says.
Oh, I didn't see it. But then I'm like, great. But there was when they took oh my God, they took 2 scripts and mashed them together for the J.J. Abrams My Childhood is Made of Nostalgia movie.
Super 8.
Which I thought elements of Super 8 were really cool. There were parts of that movie that I thought really worked, but they took a straight horror about a monster and then a very like classic Spielbergian childhood coming of age movie, and they mashed the
clumsy
scripts together.
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't work.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then another one that I really thought was, again, there are movies of his that I don't like, but I respect the craft behind them. But Darjeeling Limited, I felt like, was, again, Wes Anderson, who should have been a really confident filmmaker, and that's just not a movie that works for me. That out of all of his movies, and we did the rewatch for the Honest Trailer, even movies that, like, I know this is weird, but I'm like, I'm not a massive fan of Life Aquatic, but I really dig the style of it, and I get where he was going for it. Just didn't quite spark with me. But Darjeeling, of all of his movies, Darjeeling Limited was the one for me that felt like he was trying to make one of his movies in a weird way. It was like Wes Anderson trying to do a Wes Anderson type movie instead of just doing whatever weird thing pops into his head. And so that was, again, it's not so much like, oh, these are atrocious movies, but I think these are 2 directors that were like really like right in the thick of it and sort of skewed left and then corrected and went back, to sort of what they do best.
Is it weird that I still think the best Wes Anderson movie is The Midnight Coterie?
Is that the like
SNL
The
sketch?
SNL sketch.
Yeah.
The Midnight Coterie of Sinister Intruders.
Thank you. I am so tired. My brain is like scrambled eggs right now, you guys.
Oh no.
Yeah. But we're going to march on and it's going to be great. So, more fan questions. Oh. I'm so sorry. I'm going to do my best.
It's okay. Just burn off a few more of these and we're done.
Prudvi Raj says, this is a really good question, actually, and I think that we take a lot for granted and just say words casually. How does an embargo work? Are you allowed to discuss amongst yourselves? For example, if Dan and Ross saw a film that's still under embargo, can you talk to Joe or Spencer or Billy about it off air? Unofficially, yes, we can, but we can't talk about it publicly, and then they can't take what we said and go talk about it publicly.
Yes.
That's what that means.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd also be kind of cruel if we haven't seen it and you're like,
Yeah.
This happens. I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
In most situations.
No, I think he's just meaning, like, can I even tell you if it was good or not? Yeah, like, if I'm under, like, there's a movie Dan and I saw recently that we both think is fantastic, but we cannot say what it is publicly because we're under a complete embargo to even say that we saw it.
Yeah.
But we could tell you off camera that this movie's really good, but you can't say so publicly, and neither can we.
Got it.
If
Does
for
that make
people,
sense?
it does, and for people that may not even, I know this. I apologize if this is going over things you already know, but an embargo is literally, oftentimes Roth and I will see a movie, and the studio will say, you cannot release your review until this time on this day. And that's why a lot of times you'll see a lot of reviews all hit at the same time. It's because everybody knows exactly what time they're allowed to review it. Supplementally now, there's often also an embargo on social media. So they'll say, you can release your review on this time or this day. And social media is generally... Then it comes to the question of what's a review and what's not a review. Yeah. But a lot of times now they will also specify social media embargo is this time on this day, and usually it's a little bit earlier. But a lot of times it's weird because critics are under a social media embargo, but a lot of times there will also be fan screenings that happen. So that's where it gets kind of weird and frustrating. Is like fan screenings are never under a social media embargo. So a lot of times you'll see either people who go to like premieres and stuff who are not critics, who are industry folks and aren't reviewing it, who can talk freely about the movie, or you'll see fans that go to fan screenings who can talk freely about a movie, but we as critics are still bound to not be able to talk about it. So that's kind of what I hate, is when the lines blur a little bit. And you see people talking about a movie and you're like, I would really love to put in my 2 cents right now, but I actually can't, because if you break the embargo, there are consequences to that. Number one, the studio will probably notice and tell you to take the video down. And then number two, it's going to hurt your standing with the studio in general, because that's them basically trusting you not to break the rules.
Yeah.
And spoilers too. There's sort of an unwritten rule that unless it's marked, that critics do not give spoilers at all. which I agree with. I think that's a real dickish thing to do just in general, just because I think people should enjoy a movie, the surprises of a movie. But some critics, I think, have to be told, like, don't spoil the movie.
Yeah, or they'll ask you, please don't spoil the movie, and you can't talk about these things in your coverage if you're doing interviews and things like that. So it gets a little bit complicated, when fans are out. But one of the reasons that they'll embargo social media reactions is if you've seen a movie really, really early and they don't want to get flooded with hundreds of emails from other reporters that are saying, why didn't I see it yet?
Yeah.
They just don't want to deal with it sometimes. Like, especially if a movie's really good, because when a movie's really good, they usually want you to get the word out and talk about it. That's an embargo.
Yep.
Thoughts on embargoes?
No, you summed it up.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
No public discussions. But yes, we are free to talk amongst ourselves.
Yes.
As long as those talks are not then disseminated
Yes.
amongst anyone else.
But Nick asks, what is the best movie to watch after a Thanksgiving meal? So, like, I guess that you want to fall asleep to? That's my
That's
interpretation.
something you want to sleep through.
Yeah. Thinner. I don't know. The Machinist. I don't know. Nothing food related. That's for sure. I guess. Yeah, like you said, like what's something that'll put you to sleep, because that's where you're going anyways.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like oh God, what's that, like upstairs, downstairs, like Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
Gosford Park?
Gosford
Park. Yeah, watch Gosford Park. Take a nap.
I would say something comforting, something you enjoy.
Something that'll give you nice dreams?
Something that you don't mind sleeping through, like
Yeah.
Home Alone for
Okay.
me, like
Sure.
Home Alone, or something that is just like, oh, if I watch this, I'm gonna have a good time. But if I fall asleep and wake up 30 minutes later, like I'll be able to pick it right back up and not really have to wonder what happened.
And that it's... Because the other thing is, if you fall asleep watching something, like Netflix, for example, and it just keeps going to the next episode, and it's a disturbing thing, that will do stuff to your sleep, I have discovered, while watching Hill House.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning.
We used to make a real strong effort to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy on Thanksgiving, and then just eventually accepted the fact that that was an impossible thing to do while we're also like cooking and doing things. So now that is the day after and the day after that. But our definite after dinner reading pecan pie watch is Starship Troopers.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we watch every Thanksgiving.
That's a good one.
Great.
I know what I'll be watching this Thanksgiving. It's appointment viewing for me, which is
Santa Daddy.
That's what I'm watching. I am watching Kurt Russell as Santa.
Heck yeah.
Tonight, when it becomes available on Netflix. Or wait, this is.
It was available yesterday.
Available 3 days ago.
You've watched it already.
You've
No,
now
I
watched
already
it.
watched it. Well, I watched it on Wednesday night, so I've then watched it again on Thanksgiving because I already watched it once, so I was okay to fall asleep to it.
Yeah. Wait,
Wait,
isn't this coming out on Friday? So wouldn't
It
this
comes
question
out on
have
the
been?
22nd.
Yeah.
So today. Would
So-
be
No,
the
this
20th.
episode's Friday.
This episode is
yes.
Friday.
So we're discussing what people should have watched yesterday after their Thanksgiving
yeah.
meals.
It's too late.
That's all right.
yeah.
After
But
your
you
Thanksgiving
could say the
leftovers.
Black Friday.
You could do
I
this-
always associate like Home Alone with
Yeah.
like the Thanksgiving night / Black Friday night because I feel like
NBC.
Yeah, there you go.
Every year on NBC. I don't know if they still do, but they would play Home Alone
Okay.
on Thanksgiving night,
Yeah.
I believe.
One of the two.
Or
It
the
was either
weekend,
Black Friday,
yeah.
yeah, one of those two. But Home Alone's a definitely like Thanksgiving weekend watch
Movie.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah, so this will apply both for this weekend and for next year. There you go. We fixed it.
Yay.
I'm still really embarrassed about the Son of the Dale thing. Can I tell? Like, it's gonna haunt me. Like, that was such a dumb thing to say. I feel like you can make such a supercut of me saying dumb things. Please don't. My,
Well, now that
like
you
I don't.
The
need
Son
it.
of the Dale
I
is
do
the
it enough to
patron,
myself.
patron warlock of the Goblin Nap. It's
Like,
Yeah.
I've literally already forgotten about it.
Yeah.
I won't though. That's the crazy
Wait,
part. I'll
but
just be
you
like,
can you
so
can let it
stupid.
haunt you You can let it haunt you privately, and no one else would know. But now that we've made such a big deal
It's
about
making
it,
the
and
Now
now
you guys are gonna put
it's
it
like
in
a
a
self-fulfilling
supercut.
Now it's
prophecy.
burning
Now
a
you're
hole in your
putting it
brain.
Supercut. God damn it.
Just shove it deep
Yeah,
down
just
inside,
do
like
it, just
I
like
do.
the rest of us
lock it
do,
in.
Roth.
And just allow your own psyche to do this
And-
work
and
for
then,
you
like-
instead of the
and-
commenters.
And then like a creepy little Jack in the Box that just pops up
Yeah.
at the like weirdest
It's
moment.
perfectly healthy, Roth.
When you're trying to fall asleep like, oh, you remember Son of the Dale? Oh, why did you say that?
You have to drown your screw-ups in an ocean of other average content that we put out. So we just have to keep talking, and people will slowly forget about every time we mess up.
Okay. All right. Good plan. Thanks, guys. I'm glad we worked this out behind the scenes.
I think Dan just explained the easiest way to get an ulcer. Just shove your feelings down until you're in a dark room by
Not
yourself.
all your feelings, just your insecurity. That's fine, right?
Dan, that was an astute observation of the human condition. I love it.
Yes.
Speaking of astute observations and deep insecurity, Jason asks, will Star Wars ever have a reboot in our lifetime, meaning they would not be secure enough to stick with those original films? I don't think so. What do you guys think?
100% yes.
Oh!
In our lifetime, in the next,
take.
hopefully 40 to 60 years, yes,
Oh, yeah.
of course
The
it
first,
will.
the original trilogy.
They will
they'll
reboot
remake
the whole
that.
thing.
Yep.
I'm not saying they're going to remake A New Hope, but they are going to reboot it within our lifetime, maybe 30 years from now. But yes, they are 100% going to do that.
I will take that bet, sir. We'll meet here
I
on the
really
field
don't
of battle
think so.
30 years
I'll
from now.
meet you in 2054 when
Yep.
when the new Star Wars is released.
Here's my counter argument to that. We're not going to be alive in 2054, so it won't actually happen. Like, if things in
I
the
am.
world
Yeah,
are
I
going,
plan on it.
I'm talking about the planet, man. If things continue on the
Roth's got-
pace and
Roth's got
trajectory
plans.
that they're in, don't forget about that fire that we mentioned at the top of the show.
soon.
I happen to know for a fact that the planet's not going to survive. So, no, we won't see it in our lifetimes. But if we were alive, probably. I'll buy that for $1.
I think they're going to spend another 2 decades building up another extended universe with new books and comics and all that, and then they're going to reboot the whole thing and call that Legendary Legends.
But like a reboot in this case means like Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader.
Yeah, man. I think they're doing it.
This is the one time I'm glad the internet is forever. I want you to bookmark this video and put it in a folder called Dan Was Right.
Nah, son.
For 60 years from now when they eventually do it, and you can show it to me on my nursing home bed.
Jaden Smith is going to be Obi-Wan.
That would be like
He would
Joyden
be
Smith would be
really-
like the son of
Yeah.
Jaden 60 years from now.
Son of
exactly,
Dale and
60
son of Jaden will be
Yeah.
No, not
together.
Luke. Obi-Wan. He's
Why
going to be
would you
the
bring up the
he's
son
going
of
to be the
Dale?
elder
That's just
statesman on
hurtful.
set.
Yeah.
You brought up the son of Dale before I did.
That's just hurtful at this point. Okay, one final one, and then we're out of here. Christmas Boy, what's up?
Hey.
Says, what current show would you cancel and use that exact same cast to
What?
reboot another one? That's a tricky
Interesting.
I need to do like algebra to figure this one
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
So
So,
it's
you
you
have
like
to
the cast,
take-
but you're done
you don't
with the
like the
show.
show.
And you want
But you want to
put
revive
them in
a
a
different
show?
revival. Do you mean reboot another one or just create a different
No,
show?
just a
Says
reboot,
another one.
Reboot
Okay.
another one.
So I have to think of a current show with a cast that I
Cast
like,
you like,
and
okay.
separately
And a
another
separate
show that I want to
show.
reboot, and
And then
separately
you have
what?
those have to
I don't know.
merge.
I got you. I'm going to take the cast of The Nanny,
All right.
and I'm going to reboot House of Cards.
But you have to cancel the nanny
Yeah.
first, and it's already canceled.
What
I'm gonna-
current show?
I'm going to go back and cancel it. I just
Okay.
want to see Mrs. Sheffield play Kevin Spacey's role. I just want to see the nanny be that role and talk to the camera and knock on the desk.
All right.
Okay.
How about you, Spencer? Can you puzzle this one
Yeah,
out?
I'm gonna cancel The Good Place, and I'm gonna take that cast, and I'm gonna have them reboot Herman's Head.
All right. I was really upset
need-
for a minute, but then I was happy.
We need a Herman's Head. We need that show. In the
we need
zeitgeist.
live action Inside Out with the cast of The Good Place.
That was a roller coaster of emotions that you just put me through.
Yeah, we can talk about that off camera. I'm a little wobbly on season 3, but we'll discuss.
I like a lot of moments of that. I do like that cast a lot, so
Yeah.
I'll watch them in Herman's Head. Dan, what are you doing?
I would cancel The Walking Dead, and I would reboot Arrested Development with that cast, with the caveat that it still be in the zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's what
done.
I would
I would
do.
love to see the Bluth family apocalypse.
Although, does that cast, are they really funny?
It would be funny to
I think
watch
it
him
would
do
be
that.
funny, and I think you do a best of. You would do
Okay.
a best of. So not necessarily current cast. I think you take the best of everyone that shuffled through that door in the last 8 years or 9 years or 14 or however long it feels, And I think you could assemble a great cast.
Yeah, you
Drama
can
is
definitely get
easy. Comedy is hard.
Rucker is Jeffrey Tambor's part.
Yeah,
as the
Michael
patriarch.
Rooker as the head of the patriarch of the clan. Andrew Lincoln as like Buster would be
Yes.
incredible.
Oh my God.
Norman Reedus as Job.
Yep.
Only
you
if it's played completely straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Arrested Development. Yeah, Carl and Enid as maybe and George Michael.
Yep.
They already had the like suppressed romance thing
Will they or
going.
won't they?
But who would be Tobias?
Judith.
No.
Baby Judith.
No, sorry. Who's the older one? Carol.
Yeah.
Carol is Tobias.
Yeah.
All right, I think we solved it. We have some great programming ahead coming to television in 2065 when we will no longer be on the planet. Happy after Thanksgiving Day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed your shopping. The shopping day doesn't have the same connotation anymore because you can all do it all online.
Yeah, and they start
Do people
earlier.
still go to the stores?
JT does.
JT does.
Only JTE.
Yeah.
I like
JT,
the idea of like.
leave it on a wide shot and come tell us about Black Friday. It's the
Yeah.
holidays. We can do this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, sure.
He's coming
Tell
out.
us what your Black. This is what you would be doing right now, probably.
This is what JT
or
is
last
doing.
or on
Come here.
Thursday night. What are your
Well,
plans?
usually Thursday night is the time to go. I like to get into the mess of it. I plan out. I go to Black Friday. I go to Target and Best Buy. They're right next to each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes a movie will be like $10 at Best Buy, but like $7 at Target.
Oh,
So you
you gotta
gotta
compare.
like plan it out beforehand. Like, all right, Deadpool 2 is gonna be 4K for $9 here, but it's gonna be $10 over here on Blu-ray. So I'm going for the 4K for $9. Now I'm not going for a TV or any big type items.
Why not?
Because I already have that stuff. I have a projector. I'm decked out when it comes to entertainment. I'm just here for the smaller things, the Blu-rays and the games.
Some sundries.
And so what I do is I get it right when they open at like 5:30. The huge crowd goes in. I'm not gonna sit in line. I go right in and I just weave my way through. And if I have friends with me, I'm like, you hit Blu-ray, I'll hit DVD. They all know what I need to get. And then we reconnect, and yeah, it all works out pretty well. I like the thrill of the hunt. I like to come home with a big pile of Blu-rays. For me, Thanksgiving is like Christmas, but for myself. Like, I'm Santa. And I'm just buying everything I want. Because when you get older, Christmas is like you get other people things, you get some stuff.
It becomes about the joy of giving to
Yes,
others. Yes.
listen, to quote, Michael Douglas, greed, for the simple case of the word, is good.
Yeah.
I know I mispronounced that quote, but that's basically
No,
what I
great
meant.
as good as the right quote.
Thank
You
you.
nailed it.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you, JT.
Bravo.
All right, that's how you
That's
do
your
Black
strategy.
Friday.
That's a good. That's a
Yeah.
good strategy for everyone to take home with them.
He also
too.
literally has like in Home Alone, he has a hand-drawn battle plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Map
Yeah.
of the stores.
And he's in full Patriots football gear, shoulder pads and helmet.
But what I want to know is who are the friends that are signing up to be like, yeah,
The spotters.
I'm with you,
Who's
man.
on his Friday
I'll
squad?
go grab the DVD. Like, who's signing up to do like someone?
I call them J Team E.
JT. So I think you guys probably know why we love JT and why he's amazing. And so now I guess I talked myself into believing he would have people that would just be like, okay,
Yeah.
like, I'd probably do that for you.
They're all on walkie-talkie. It's
I'm
epic.
obviously.
If you know the right stores and if you know the departments, you too can join the J Team.
Yeah.
Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
I'm gonna be eating some of my crack pie that was sent to me from Milk Bar
Nice.
and sleeping. That's what I'm gonna be doing. And I hope you guys are enjoying this episode and your day. And we will see you on Monday in some form or another. Maybe it's holograms, maybe it's not.
You decide.